I just want somebody to talk to. Someone that's on my mind. I want something.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Piggybank where we give you our 3 cents.
Today we're pretty much gonna talk about just like working out and sports in college, sports in high school. And did you guys do sports in high school at all?
No, I did sports in middle school and I had to stop doing sports because I had a heart murmur. And I always had one when I was younger, but it came back whenever I got to high school. And part of it was that I also didn't love sports the way that like my coaches made it seem like I did. So I think that was like a big thing for me, was knowing I didn't really want to do it. Like there's always a part of me that's like, oh, I wonder if I could have been in Baylor on track team, like being D1. And Kayla, I know I have a lot of experience with this because you almost went D1 for soccer. So, like, did
I
you
think
lose
it's
your
like,
love for it?
well, okay, this is kind of where it gets confusing. So when I've been playing soccer and figure skating since I was 3 years old, okay? And started when I get into the like middle school years, I started to like not like it as much, but because I got pressured from like my family, like my parents, not like my family, but mostly my mom being like, I'm paying for your soccer, you're gonna do it. But then my freshman year, I made varsity for soccer and I started to get that love back for it because it was like, it was a big deal, right? But when it came to like college and deciding if I wanted to play, that's where I was like, no, because I have such a passion for the arts. And if I went to school for sports, then that's all I would be doing. And that's not how I want to live my life. Like I'm not going to be going to the Olympics. So why would
Right.
No,
I
I literally
spend
felt that in like middle school because I was on the step team in middle school. That was like one of my first sports teams. But then I
I was on the step
also
team
really
in like
okay,
yeah.
when I was
but
like
I
5.
also was in girl. But I also was in what's it called, theater. I almost said musical. It was theater, and I was in 2 musicals, but I was also simultaneously on the step team, and I just had more passion for like the arts and performing. That's why I like just that. It wasn't the pressure of like parents saying I pay for this, you got to do it, but it was just like the knowledge of me knowing I love this more than I love step or this sport. So that was just like my sort of like blockage, or like what's it called, roadblock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that. I think it was like really for me because I also did dance when I was from 2 to I think about 6th grade. So however old you are in 6th grade. And I loved it. And my mom was the one who was like, I literally can't pay for this anymore. And that's why my love for that never went away. But it was something that I was like, dang, I would have liked doing that. But track was free. It was at school and I hated it. I used to love running. When I was in the 4th grade, we used to get these little things called toe tokens and they would put them on our shoes every time you ran a certain amount of laps. We'd also have these like booster fundraisers for just running around in circles. And I loved that so much because there wasn't any strings attached in terms of like where your future is going to go or putting pressure on it. And I feel like a lot of times parents put pressure on their kids to do a sport that they got them into. And that's why I get so scared whenever people are like, it's like a love-hate relationship for this kind of thing. But when people are like, oh, I'm going to put my kid in this, this, and this, and hopefully they do one of them. I wish my parents did that for me because I did regret like growing up not knowing how much like all the other kids knew in terms of sports, and they would get put on the teams and I'd have to work harder to teach myself things. But I just also feel like there's a pressure that comes along with doing that to your kids at such a young age. And Kayla, I feel like even Jailah, both of y'all could probably talk in it because I know you both have nieces and nephews. And do you think like their parents are kind of putting them in that direction of what to do in terms of how they're gonna, with sports?
I feel like I'm doing that with my nephew, not my sister. Now, here's the reason why. He has the cutest little voice, and I think he should be a Disney kid, but that's just me. But like his dad also like played football all throughout high school, so that's like another thing that he also has like sort of pressure on him to do because of what his parent did.
Yeah, like alumni. Like when you have,
Yeah.
oh my God, I was so happy my sister didn't do like track or anything. If anything, I was that kid for my brother. But I know some people who have like older siblings that were like prodigies, or even parents. Like my roommate, Michaela, her mom and her aunt were like basketball legends. And she stopped doing basketball because that's not what she wanted to do. But like, she could have done that. But that's like
I
such a
think also
pressure.
like with Nikki and Cam, it's so funny because they don't do that all with Liam, but like obviously for like gifts and birthdays and stuff, people give him like a ball kit, and it'd be like every little ball in there. And he just started doing it on his own. Like they got him a hoop, and he started like he like goes, like basketball. And now he keeps telling Nikki he'll be like baseball with friends. So Nikki signed him up for baseball in the summer. Like he keeps saying he wants to do it. So
I
that's
feel
why
like
we put
kids
him in
know.
it.
Like kids know what they want to
Mhm.
do. So like for them to like do it. Like I knew I wanted to be a dancer when I was a kid, and I was so
Yeah.
happy when my mom put me in my first dance class. And when I stopped going, I was so sad. So I think like you can definitely tell. Like if my mom put me in freaking soccer classes, I would have been like, girl, I'm gonna go home. Like
Soccer
you know.
classes.
What are they
Did you
called?
say
when-
soccer classes?
What are
It's
they?
when like
Practice?
it's
Practice?
Kayla, please. It's when like parents or like parental figures can't afford like putting you through your passion or your sport or whatnot.
It
That really
sucks.
gets the kid, because that happened to me. I like even I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, "You always used to sing and dance when you were little, blah blah blah," and like I did, and I vividly remember that, but I don't do it as much as I used to. And like I knew I could have grown. I think about this all the time. If my parents had the money to put me in my passion and like help me work towards it or
And
work on it.
that's honestly a reason why there's not as many like Black dancers and stuff, because
Yeah.
a lot of them aren't able to like keep up with those classes. And I think it's so beautiful whenever I see like a Black ballerina or like a Black technical dancer, because a lot of that comes with like being able to go through that training, because being a super great ballerina is something you can't just do overnight. You have to take training,
No.
you have to take classes. And so for me, that was like one of my goals. And I could be a dancer, I can do hip hop, I can do jazz or something less technical, but I'll never be able to be like a ballerina or a gymnast because it's too late. I'm too old now. So like that was something
Even
I
that's
did.
like even with like cheer and whatnot, I saw this tweet the other day, and it was just like a list of like expenses of just like an outfit and training alone.
Yeah,
Cheer
that's
and
how it was
it
with
was like
cheer.
$2,000.
Yeah, I did cheer. I did cheer in middle
No,
school. And
I
that was
did
the
cheer
one thing,
too.
because my mom saw how sad I was when she had to take me out of dance. And so she put
Ugh.
me back in cheer and got my father to pay for it. And that was like one of the one things he paid for like growing up. And I was so happy. I was so happy. And I didn't end up doing it in like high school or anything, but I still, it was something I got to do and got to say I do. And that was like a
That's
nice
how it
experience.
was with like figure skating with me. And it's funny
Ooh.
because because like Nikki did like soccer and basketball, and Lauren did figure skating and pom. And I think like I was like a mix of them, but with figure skating, soccer was like expensive with like the tournaments and stuff, but skating is kind of like dance too. Like it is just so damn expensive. My mom like would make our costumes. Like I remember like seeing her like rhinestone all these little skirts and stuff. So, and I ended up like having to stop doing it just because of like COVID. But like I do appreciate, I just gotta take a moment to say I did appreciate like all what my mom did for me, like with all that kind of stuff, because like it's kind of toxic. Like I know how people talk about like how dance is so toxic with like EDs and like stuff like that, never feeling like you're good enough, but that's how it was with skating as well. And I feel like that's also not talked about, like never feeling like you're good enough. And it's like that with all sports. I'm not saying it's just like skating or like with just dance. I just looking around at people around you and being like always comparing, like, oh my God, this person's better than me. Oh, this person works out 6 times a day, and me, like, I never worked out in high school or
I was
anything. I
about
just
to
went to
say,
practice.
Me
Like,
neither.
speaking of working out, I wanted to talk about that because I feel like I'm like, okay, I used to have this life. Y'all, I swear I was a track star. Like I could have been the next people used to call me like the girl Usain Bolt. And honestly, I made like the worst.
No
like,
way.
did I ever? Yeah, they called me girl Usain Bolt. Did
For
I ever
real?
tell y'all before I
he
get
was
into like,
running.
yeah, I'm quick. Y'all don't know about me. I did the
She went
400, the
fast.
800, the 4x2, the 4x4, high jump, long jump, triple jump. Yo, but I
All
never
the
told
jumps.
y'all the story about when I went to quit. The high school coach was scouting me at my 8th grade, last day of 8th grade. He came to scout me. He was like, Hailey, we want you on the high school team. I said, that is fine and dandy, but I have a heart murmur. He said, me too. I was like,
Oh,
well,
he don't
mine's
care.
different because
What?
I don't want to die. And he was
Who
like,
just says that?
he was like, you're not gonna die from a heart murmur. I have one too, and I still run. I was like, boy, your old ass. Like, I was so mad. I was so mad, but
you can die from a heart murmur.
you can, but he was trying to do too much. He was like, I still run. I was like, well, I'm not you. I literally told him that and then I left. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like things like that. Like, why are you pressuring a kid to join something? Like, if I want to do it, I'll do it. And I didn't want to do it.
Coaches.
That kind of made me want to talk about like injuries in like
Toxic.
sports and stuff. Because I
Yeah.
know what really stopped my dancing for a good chunk of time was when I auditioned for the dance team in middle school once, and I overstretched and I pulled a muscle. And then I just messed. No, girl.
Jailah, no.
Y'all know how
girl.
easy Jailah get injured too. Jailah be
No,
I
yeah.
know.
She
I'm just a little.
does.
I should be putting a little rolling ball like a hamster, just
Yeah.
bounce around the walls. But y'all, it was like so traumatic because I didn't dance for like the rest of middle school. I didn't even try out for the next year, and then it was like my senior year that I really wanted to go back and dance and try out for Palms, and then COVID happened. Junior year, snatched that so
Dude,
quick away
COVID
from me.
literally snatched so much out of
Everything.
No,
You
it's
know, if COVID
everything.
didn't happen, I probably would have been on our Lariat dance team. I ended up having to do a virtual
Facts.
Zoom audition, and my small living room didn't have any space. So my audition was, I still have it on my computer. It's ugly.
Oh.
Shut up, people.
It's like one of those Shake It Up ones. You know when we auditioned for like Shake It Up and we were like,
Oh my God, did y'all audition
Okay,
for Shake
no,
It
it was
Up?
10 times that. No,
I did.
I didn't even know what Shake It Up was. People at my school would talk about Shake It Up, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what?
oh yeah, I
Oh.
auditioned for
Baby,
that.
you didn't watch TV.
The
I
sweepscape,
know.
the sweepscape or whatever that was. But
Girl, I was
anywho,
on there.
like
so-
injury wise, I
Well,
don't
have
know.
you ever been injured in your sport, Kayla?
Mhm.
Okay, let me knock on wood because I still play soccer, y'all. Like I do club here. Like it's not like crazy, but no, I have never like.
That's
That was like
good.
the
That's
longest way
good.
to answer no. But no, yeah.
I
I got injured. Oh my God. I got injured in 8th grade. I did cross country as well. And I
Mhm.
was running too much up them hills and I sprained my
Oh.
hip. I had to like go
Oh.
to the hospital
Old
and
lady hips.
they took a pregnancy test of me because they were like, there's no reason why you should be having hip issues at your young
Girl.
age. And so they
What?
took a pregnancy test and then
Gaslighting.
they were like, oh, you're not pregnant. And I was like, I know, I'm a virgin. And then they were like, they were, they were like, you
No.
sprained your hip. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
I actually did get concussed, but it wasn't from a sport. Like,
Ooh, girl.
can I tell you? Like,
Did you
I
fall
don't know
down
if
the stairs?
you get no. I don't know if you
Okay.
guys get like this, but like sometimes when I go out to eat with my family, like me and my sister, we get like really hyper after dinner, and basically it was the Red
I get
Robin parking
tired.
lot. Well, whatever. I was running through the Red Robin parking lot, and I slipped and I hit my head on the curb, and I had a concussion.
Not
Okay,
Red
honestly,
Robin.
it's scary because I feel like it's something genetic with concussions because every white person I know has like had so many concussions. I have been through the mud. My head has been banged against metal. I have literally been through the worst things and I've never had a
I'm
concussion.
saying, I remember I was at the zoo this one time, and my brother like he wanted to hit up the door like them little middle school boys do, and he like banged my nose so bad with his elbow, started bleeding out the zoo and everything, and I was fine.
I literally like flew off the swing 50 feet and crunched my head on the ground, and I've never been concussed. Unless I like
Girl, what? Like you probably I literally have only been concussed at one time because like it was cement, but it wasn't even like you could have been and you don't know.
No, that's what I was
Like-
about to say. Like my mom also, whenever I get hurt, is like put coconut oil on it. So I totally could have been concussed.
Vicks
like,
vapor rub won't
just
get you
like-
right.
all I know, I'm not even 100% if it was a concussion. I was just like, Mom, my head hurts. And then she was just like,
Oh.
okay, don't fall asleep or else like you might never wake up. And that scared the hell out of me. So I was just like, because apparently if you fall asleep with a concussion, you could get put into a coma.
You supposed to
Dad,
just
read
stay
the
awake.
story about that young high school boy that got his like career ended because they let him play while he was
That is
concussed.
so bad.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
That was awful. Like
That is
coaches
terrible.
really need to stack their morals and just like put protecting the kids on top because it's really not up there. It's down
I
there.
have a question.
for
Okay,
real.
so you know how we said coaches try to live through their players? Do you guys ever feel like you try to live through people who ended up going that route? Like sometimes I'll see people from my high school that are like actually doing well at D1 in like basketball, and I'll be like, please make it to the NBA so I can say I knew you. Like, you know?
I did that with Juice World. No, wait, hold on. Rephrase the question.
Huh?
Rephrase the question.
Girl,
I didn't understand it for real.
The
No,
question
girl,
was-
what?
In high school, Juice WRLD went to my high school, okay?
Yeah.
And so
that.
he was like friends
Yeah,
with my
I
brothers
knew
and
that.
whatnot. And like freshman year I got there and he had made I still see your shadows in my room. Yeah, and with
Lucid
that,
dream.
yes, Lucid Dream. And with that song in itself, and like how big he got, and when I first watched him, like when the Billboard, I was like, yeah, like keep going, cause like I was telling everybody, I was like, I knew him. I didn't know him for real, y'all. I'm so sorry, but he did go to my high school, and he was friends with my brother. So one person away.
Yeah,
Locked
I
in.
do that all the time with people because my school is really good for sports. My high school was great in sports. We were number one in our let me not lie on our numbers, but we were good, okay? So Texas, I didn't want to get the stats wrong, but Texas is a pretty good place for sports, and so we take it so serious. And a lot of my people are in the NFL or NBA. I know some girls who are dancing on the
A
Dallas
lot of my
Cowboys
people.
cheerleader. None of my people.
You knew them. You knew
I
them.
knew them like that. I
Like
knew
that.
them.
Not the Dallas Cowboys. Ah, we love that show.
Mhm. I know. I mean, my dance teacher was on the Rhythm and Blues, which is the dance
Show?
team for Dallas Cowboys.
Mhm,
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys
mhm.
cheerleaders making the team.
That's a
Yeah.
show.
Girl,
Y'all know
Mm-mm,
I don't be watching television like
you're
that.
actually uncultured.
I'm
mm-mm.
under a rock.
Everyone knows
actually.
DCC making the team.
It's so toxic, but I love it.
I love it. It's so like rude, like, but it's good. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't believe you.
I'm
Anyways,
not locked in. For real.
I think we should shift it to a more serious note and talk about like mental health with sports. And
Mhm.
so how that can take a toll on people, how like maybe advice we can give knowing that we were all pressured to do or almost pressured to do sports that we didn't want to do.
I know I had some sort of like embarrassment with step in middle school. That's why I never went to like even middle school and high school. I never went to any of the performances, like ever.
Because
Were you
like what?
yeah, were you
Because
embarrassed
like
because you were bad or like
no, because like
Hailey.
I felt okay. This may so bad, but like this was younger me, and I felt too like masculine, or like from what other people had told us, because they would make fun of us or steppers. But like
Mm.
steppers was always the baddest to perform at the halftime show. It wasn't the cheerleaders, it wasn't the dancers, the steppers. Sorry to hate on my girlies, but like it was always the steppers. So just hearing those words from everybody else and be like, oh my gosh, they're too masculine, they're too loud. Look at their faces. Made me not want to
Yeah.
go and perform.
yeah,
And that's
Mhm.
what
I get that.
I would regret. Yeah.
I would say like for me, like mental health was like a really big thing. I knew that I would be running and my thoughts would just be like, just finish. Literally, if you die, it's okay. At least you would have finished the race.
Yeah.
And when it got to that
Facts.
point, I was like, okay, obviously this isn't something that makes you happy anymore. You're actually pushing your body to be like doing unhealthy things that it shouldn't be doing.
Mhm.
While running might be healthy for some people, it's not right for you. You need to take a step back. Because honestly, winning and getting first place and the ribbons and all that, they were really getting to me. I really like being successful. That's something that I've always thrived on.
Competitive.
I'm
I'm
But it
very
gets to a
competitive.
point where you have to realize when being competitive isn't worth risking your life. It really isn't. And
Right.
so I think if you're going through something where you know it's something you might have to sit out on, if you've been injured or if you can't continue your sport, then that's definitely something where you need to make sure you step aside and look at it and be like, oh, there's other options. Because I'm so happy that I ended up going the route I did. I would have never ended up where I am now if I ended up doing track. I probably wouldn't know
And-
you guys. I know I wouldn't know you guys. I wouldn't be in Chicago. It
Mhm.
would have been a whole different story for me, you know?
I think like with me, I know I like already touched on this a little bit earlier, but with soccer, I always felt kind of like accepted because they kind of like welcomed everybody. In skating, it was kind of more like subjective with the sizing of people. And sometimes if you weren't a specific size, like you would get like looked at in the rink, or like the coaches would be like, you need to lose weight. Sorry, like
The
it's the reality.
coaches.
No, yeah, it
I'm
was
not
like
shocked.
that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It took a toll on me when I was younger, but I think like growing up, I've learned like to love myself. So I really like, even if I heard that stuff from people, I'm like, look at you. You know what I mean? But hearing that as a kid, it shouldn't be a thing. I don't know how it's like anymore out there for these young kids in sports, but it was pretty damn toxic when we were young.
I feel
Yeah.
like not even some words, but even some actions from coaches. Because I know when I cheered when I was younger, I was always like the bottom, like the person holding the person, not
The
like a
base.
flyer. Yeah,
I was
the
the back
base.
spot.
And
Imagine being the back spot.
oh,
You get
friend,
someone's
I'm
butt
so
in your face the
sorry.
whole time.
It was the back spot.
Yeah.
Oh, guys. Yeah. Anyways, I always thought about maybe I would have been better if they wouldn't like instinctively put me in that position at the
Yeah.
bottom just because of my weight as a kid.
I was too tall to be a flyer, but I was like literally a twig. Like I could have done it, but I was too tall. So I get what you're saying. But I wanted to touch on one more thing. Let's go on a more happy note.
And I could have done a better.
Yeah,
flip.
let's
Maybe
end it
this
with
won't even
Patricia.
really be happy, but I just want to talk
Oh.
about PE and athletics. That's a whole different ballgame. That's something I'm pretty
Best
sure
part of high
everyone
school.
did. Like everyone did that, you know? Did y'all ever get hit in the head with the balls? Because
Girl, yes.
I was a target. I swear. I'd be walking by.
Mm.
You know what, Kayla? You were probably the one hitting the people with the head and with the balls. You hit the people. You
That's
probably
rude.
No, because you did soccer. All the soccer players would kick the balls heavy for no reason during kickball, and then I'd be walking by just minding my business and get hit in the head with the ball.
You want to
Well,
know?
y'all, I have a funny story. It's about volleyball. In middle school, I tried out for volleyball, and
Me
the coach
too.
was like, "You have a
Me
good hand-eye
too.
coordination," and I had such high hopes. And then the next day, I didn't make the second try.
They cut you.
Oh
they
my
cut
God.
me too.
Me
They cut
too.
me. They
The
said,
coaches
"Pop."
hyped me up. The coaches acted like I was
Me
about to make it
too.
on
You're
the
so
team.
good.
And I was actually really good. Honestly, I stand by it was because I was black. There was like
Oh.
no black people on the team unless you were like actually trained throughout like your childhood. You're not getting on the team.
Mhm.
Like even if they put some mediocre people on there just because they were white. And that was the school I went to. But I was so good. And then I literally thought my life was over when I came back and didn't see my name. I
No,
literally
facts. I cried
cried.
in the
Yeah.
halls
It was
all
so
day. It was
embarrassing. Me
embarrassing.
Dude, they put
Everybody
Me
was
too.
walking the hall. They were like, "What's wrong with Jailah? Don't ask."
Jailah, they put ours at the end of the day. So I'm literally waiting for my mom to pick me up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can she hurry up? And I'm outside by the trees
Yeah.
crying. And everyone had just seen, everyone kept looking at me like, yes. And I'm like, that just made
And
me
then when
cry
the girls,
more.
they would wear their like little jerseys on their game day, and I'd be like, oh my god,
Be like,
Dude, they would get like Chick-fil-A and like their
Congrats.
little snacks for the road. And I'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Dog, don't even talk about the Chick-fil-A for the sports teams."
no, nope.
And
The
it's
pics they would post on their
self-traumatizing.
Instagram, their little collages, they would be like, oh
it
my
was so
god, I was so
dude,
envious.
all of the
Whatever.
all of the off-season people would walk by and we were just like the losers, like the scums, because it was always the same people for each team. Our basketball people were the volleyball people who were the track people, and the only time I ever
Yes.
got to make my little arrival was track season, because y'all can't deny numbers. You can say someone has more skill being biased or whatever, but you can't. I just raced her and beat her, so you can sit down. Like there's no
The
denying.
amount of sports people
I didn't
did
even
in like high school made me realize how rich they are. Cause girl, damn, 5 sports.
You're
Yeah,
right.
My
I know.
God.
I didn't even do the last time I did PE was 6th grade. I didn't do it any other time because I was
Yeah.
in theater. So apparently, like if you were in choir or theater, because when I got to high school, I did theater, but before that, I did choir. You were
Oh my
you got
God,
to
my
opt
high
out of
school
gym.
had that too.
So I was like, I was the choir girl. You know what I mean? Like that's how people knew me. I think in middle school mostly the choir
I
girl,
did
because I was singing them
theater and-
solos. I was like.
Yeah, I did theater and athletics because I genuinely was like, maybe I do want to be a track star. It was really hard. I did theater C, which was like our select theater, and I also did track. It was like a balance, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on just getting hit in the head with balls and like my whole traumatic experience with PE and athletics, because
But did
middle
y'all
school-
ever have a good PE like friend group thingy? Was that a thing for y'all
Girl,
too?
no.
I think so.
Really?
I remember
I'm
someone
pretty sure I
putting
would stand in the corner.
I
A lot
remember
of my
someone
high
putting
school
like
friends
a
came from
hula hoop
gym.
over someone and like telling them they were dating. That was like the highlight of my PE time. That's all
I know how
Stop.
to
So
end
you
on a
did that
happier
too.
note.
Oh.
I know how to end on a happy note. Y'all remember in elementary school when they would have those parachutes and we would fly them up and then everybody would look under them?
I went to school in the Virgin
Oh.
Islands. We didn't do that there, but I
Oh.
have seen it before.
It was so
We gotta do it
fun.
for you
Oh
one
my
day.
God. Yeah,
I
we'll
wanna do
do
that.
it.
When I get
We'll get a
back.
giant
Okay.
parachutes
I'm
with
so
everybody
okay.
in it.
I just quite literally am fine. Yeah.
No. It's part of
At the end of the day, though, y'all just do you. If you're not happy in your sport, quit. Even if your
Leave.
parents tell you not to,
Literally
I don't care.
leave.
I
Get
wish I would
out.
have listened to myself. Like, don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
If you want to
'cause
do it,
obviously
don't do it.
you have passions in other places. Sports is not the only thing that you can do. And if you're good at it, that doesn't mean that it's for you.
Exactly. And it really takes courage to stop. So you're courageous even if you want to stop and move to something
Period.
different.
Let 'em know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We're so happy you're here.
Oh my God.
Look,
Okay, check us out on all of our other social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram. We're even on YouTube where you can see our faces. And if you ever hear awkward pauses like the one that just happened, it gives you a little more
You can
context.
see why. You can see
It
why.
gives you something to laugh about. But
Go
also,
head on over there.
let us know your sports. Do y'all play sports?
Oh yeah, let us know your
I
sports
wanna
in the
know.
comments.
I want to know.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Bye,
We'll see you next week. Love
guys.
ya.